Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio, NETT Radio.
Another day above ground, I see. I focusing on the positives, because yesterday I was down. People do me wrong, but it's love in me heart. When they try to take me for clown, I do them no wrong. Jaja have we back, and I shouting, oh Lord, I'm thankful, oh Lord, I'm thankful. It's you who give me health and strength. Oh Lord, I'm thankful. It's you give me the handful. Every day you're blessing me. Only it and back and on. It's nothing we nature. Money in we pocket. This life I want love it. Only it and back and on. It's nothing we nature. Food on we table. I could and I able. Think I jump up and wave. I thankful for life. To see another sunrise. Me to one up in the air. All the stress on your mind, put them problems aside and give thanks, yeah, for another day. Don't forget to pray and give thanks, yeah, for another day. Don't forget to pray. Another day above ground, I say, thank you, Father. I'm focusing on the positives, cause yesterday I was down, today I feel strong. Yes, His love in me heart. Dirty up my name around tongue, I do them no wrong. Jaja have we back, and I shouting, oh Lord, I'm thankful, oh Lord, I'm thankful. It's you who give me health and strength. Oh Lord, I'm thankful. It's you give me the handful. Every day and bacchanal. It's nothing we nature, money in we pocket. This life I want love it, always and bacchanal. It's nothing we nature, food on we table, a good and a able. We can jump up and wave. I thankful for life, to see another sunrise. Me to one up in the air. All the stress on your mind, put them problems aside and give thanks, yeah, for another day. Don't forget to pray and give thanks, yeah, for another day. Don't forget to pray.
It's the NETT Radio Breakfast Show, bringing you the energy, music, and vibes to start your day right.
And of course, one of those ways that you can start your day right is to be thankful.
Focusing on the
Don't forget to pray. Thank God for another day. And that is what we are doing here on the Era TT Radio. But the heartbeat and the Caribbean. Good morning to you, everybody. Trinidad and Tobago, good day to you.
no wrong.
Neighbors in the Caribbean, how are you doing this morning? Friends who are streaming all around the globe. I'm very thankful to be in this space with you. And so much thanks to the Heavenly Father for bringing us together for another one. And all that we do, dear God, let it be a blessing, honor to you. People, yours truly, Sir Charles. Happy am I to be in this space with you, and I am very, very thankful. And good morning to the Gael family. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, this is the Get Up and Go. We welcome everybody to the breakfast show.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Where is he? Good morning, good morning, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Richard Ragoobarsingh. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over this wonderful but so very messed up globe of ours. It's Tuesday morning in Trinidad and Tobago, as I'm sure it is in other parts of the world, unless it's Tuesday evening. But we're here, we're in the land of the living. It's a bit cloudy outside. When I went outside earlier and I saw some heavy clouds up. So just be careful. It probably will be another rainy day, like it was in some parts of Trinidad yesterday. Not much rain fell in Arima, but down in the west was terrible. I don't know if you all saw that flooding and the traffic that emanated from it yesterday. I got out of Port of Spain just in time. Actually, I went over Lady Young Road. I haven't driven over Lady Young Road in a little while. I left Port of Spain via Lady Young Road yesterday, and when I got to Arima, I didn't regret it because I saw only chaos. Chaos in town.
Hi, good morning, guys. Good morning to... Make sure my mic is on. Good morning, guys. Yeah, good morning to our listeners and viewers wherever you are. And of course, good morning to my co-host Wendell and Sir Charles. And it's the breakfast show on this Tuesday morning.
Good morning, guys, and good morning, everybody, and thanks for being here. Yeah.
Happy birthday quickly to Kimberly Charles, Luke Samerson. Remember Luke Samerson, Richard? We interviewed Luke and his brother, Lujo.
Yes.
A young duet.
Yeah,
they sing.
And do something.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. They are grown men now. They were like teenagers then.
Yeah, they were teenagers then.
Yeah. Luke and
I see their father sometimes in karaoke in Castro's.
In Castro's.
Yeah, because Castro's has karaoke on a Sunday.
Right.
And I'm like, just hang out.
So happy birthday, Luke. Happy birthday, Jenny Wallace. My good friend Kwame St. Bryce. I don't know if Kwame's still teaching. He is celebrating his birthday today. Chanel Steele. Andre Montai. Today is Andre Montai's birthday. Happy birthday, Andre. And Mr. Montai. I always call him Mr. Montai. He says call him Andre. I call him Mr. Montai. David Lee. I don't think this is the minister, David Lee.
Andre Montai is in what, his 80s now? Something?
Nah, well, he might be close to 80.
He's Andrew, I think.
Who's that?
The other Montai.
And I know. Andrew Nurse, somebody named Andrew Nurse is celebrating a birthday today. Leslie Mark, Cheryl Ann, Ned, Sherwin Campbell, Hazel Warwood, lots of birthdays today. Robert Cesaire is from Carenage. Well, I don't know if he's from Carenage, but he was the chairman of the Diego Martin West constituency when Dr. Rowley was there. He was chairman of that constituency for years. So happy birthday, Robert Cesaire. And Kaya King. They are all celebrating birthdays today, September 16, 2025. All right? Those are I have a rant to do. I don't know when maybe when after your good news, I want to do it. I have a rant.
So I just want to say good morning to all our listeners. I want to thank all of the people who came over the weekend to don't leave foul to watch Corn at Cincinnati College. And of course, a special good morning to Ms. Dabney, CJ, and of course Zena, and of course Wendell. Wendell was part of Far Rockaway, I think was there too.
Yes, Far Rockaway is there. Yeah, and so Trini in Boston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was also there.
So a special good morning to all you guys. But and of course we now head to Central Bank Auditorium. So we're back in Port of Spain. So we'll be at Central Bank Auditorium next weekend, not this weekend, the following weekend, the end of the month actually, at Central Bank Auditorium, the 27th and 28th of September. We'll be there and tickets go on sale, I think today from after about 12 noon or so. All outlets will have tickets to that show at Central Bank Auditorium. So again, get your tickets early. Had wonderful 2 shows over the weekend. And the show is continuing.
Well, not that the show, Richard, I have some more play material for you. I see you use quite a bit in this play also too. I have some more play material for you coming up soon. My life is such that it's
more drama.
It's forming the basis of all these plays.
Anyway, let's get into
you good news and then I'll go on my rant.
The last person to be found alive after the Twin Towers fell on September 11th. Her name was Janelle Guzman McMillan, a 30-year-old temp worker from Trinidad who moved to New York in 2000 in hopes of becoming a dancer and a singer. Things didn't go so well for her, which is why she ended up working as a temp worker in the Twin Towers on September 11th. She worked on the 64th floor of the North Tower working for the Port Authority. And after the first plane struck, she and her co-workers rushed through the crowded stairwell trying to get to the bottom. They managed to make it 50 flights down until they reached the 13th floor. And at that point, she stopped to remove her heels. And as soon as she did, the entire building collapsed. Janelle was buried alive under concrete and steel. She could barely move. Hours and hours passed and everything was filled with smoke, and she prayed to God that someone would find her. While Janelle was buried alive, she said she felt a hand grab hers and say, "Hold on, I've got you. My name is Paul." The voice kept encouraging her, and she knew that she was going to make it out alive since she had Paul. 27 hours after she was first buried under all of that concrete and steel, all of a sudden she heard other voices. She started tapping her hand as hard as she could to get their attention, and a firefighter heard her and grabbed her out of the rubble. Janelle had been saved. After she was rescued, she immediately asked the fire rescuers to help her find Paul so she could thank him for staying with her that entire time. But they told her they didn't have anyone named Paul working on their team. Janelle believes Paul might have been a real live angel. Janelle went on to create a good life. Doctors told her that her right leg had been crushed and they needed to amputate it, but Janelle refused. And after 4 surgeries, she was able to walk again. She married her longtime boyfriend Roger later that same year, and they went on to have a beautiful family, and they still live in Long Island. To this day, Janelle calls her survival a miracle because she was the very last person rescued alive from ground zero after the September 11th attacks. What do you think of this story? Leave a comment to let me know. I'm Tierica with the T. Follow for more.
Wow,
So that was all
I've
good
heard
news.
that story before.
That was all good news for today. Sent to me by Zena, actually.
I never heard that story before. Excellent.
Yeah,
That's
interesting.
okay. That's it. Well, I mean, they're guardian angels about. We can't things that happen that we just can't explain. You know. I thought this story would have ended with her finding somebody named Paul, actually, but Roger got through.
Paul probably couldn't make it.
Yeah, Paul couldn't make it. Anyway, so thanks for that good news. Thank you, Zena, who was up there on Sunday. But I have a rant. So I love barbecuing, right? So I have a barbecue pit that I bought maybe 2 years ago, if so long, and installed it and so on. So I have these tanks, these propane tanks. It uses these propane tanks. And so one of those tanks emptied. So I decided I'm gonna go and fill it or get another tank of gas. So I was told by Stephen, go by Orange Grove gas station. That gas station right on the highway there. They sell the tanks there. You just carry your old tank and they'll give you a new tank of gas, right? Well, you're paying for it, right? I don't know what was the cost. So I decided to go there. When I went there, the Ramco truck was there and they didn't have any. So the guy told me where to go. He told me to go up the highway, swing by Maloney there, and come back in the back, that side road that goes.
You're going to Ramco itself.
Right, by Ramco itself. So he gave me the directions and I decided I will go. So I left and I went up there and I drove in. So when I went inside, the girl told me I had to bring in the tank. I thought I was just going to fill it, right? She said, bring in the tank. She had to examine it. So I carry in the tank. She said, this tank expired. I said, what do you mean it expired? She said, well, they can't refill tanks that are more than 5 years old. And this tank have a stamp date of 2018 on it. So that is 7 years ago, right? So I have to buy a new tank of gas. I said, how much are a new tank of gas? $455. I said, what? I said, how is that so expensive? Because just to fill the tank is a few dollars. You understand? She said, well, you're lucky because down in the West, and she called where, selling it for $700 and something. So this is a steal. I said, okay, let me buy the tank of gas. So I waited and waited and eventually they brought out a tank of gas. Right? But all the time I'm telling myself, I don't have this tank 5 years. So how is it 2018? She said this tank is 5 years. I know I don't have the tank 5 years. Anyway, I argued. She said 5 years after, it's too risky. And she explained and justified why they can't take the chance in filling it because it may have defects and it may explode if it was in the sun. I said this tank never see the sun. So anyway, I got the new tank of gas. Only to realize the tank of gas that I'm now getting to yesterday, it have a stamp of 2022 on it. So I say, but how is this? I said, I thought I was getting a tank that could last 5 years. Why is it stamped 2022? Well, like everybody shocked. She shocked. The guy who bring it out shocked. I said, so I don't really have 5 years with this. I say, I have 2 years with this. So this is already a 3-year-old tank. But it looked brand new, it's shiny, with new nozzle, the nozzle gold, everything. But it's stamped 2022. So Ramco, well, you find out what's going on now because that is a ripoff.
You know, usually, I mean, I've gone through that already, but what they do sometimes, Wendell, is that they will test your tank. You gotta pay them to test your tank. But I think it's maybe like $100 or something. So that same old tank from 2018, what they will do is they will test it and they will tell you to come back in a few days, like, oh, let's say a week, to see whether it can take the refill or not. And then they will notify you yes, it can take the refill, even though, but they will put a like retested, but it can take it or not. They can tell you no, it can't. Or yes, it can, and then you don't have to buy a new tank. But it just means you have a waiting period.
Right.
A lot of times,
but I couldn't afford the waiting period because
and that's why most of the times when people carry to refill, they don't have a waiting period because they're refilling for a purpose.
Yes. I'm filling it for something this weekend. But they didn't give me that option though, eh? They didn't give me that option because I could have still left the old tank to do that whilst I buy the new tank. But the new tank has a date 3 years up before. That is my problem, you know. Not the money I spent or not the fact that I have to buy.
But you're just going to get 2 years out of it.
Yeah, I only getting 2 years out of the new tank, and I find that really unfair.
But because they really should be able. But I know it's a safety issue because they emit gas.
Yes.
But I know sometimes they will test the tank to see whether it could do it, or they'll tell you no, you can't bother. Don't bother again with this tank. You have to buy a new tank, but usually it requires a wait. It's not an immediate testing.
No, so I took back the old tank because I know I don't and that don't have that tank 5 years. I know that. You understand? Because my grill is only 2 years old. You know what I mean?
So this tank that you're talking about is a special tank, or this is a normal 20-pound over tank you're talking about?
No. There's a propane. There's a propane tank.
Oh, okay. It's a special tank.
For barbecue, for barbecue pits.
Tanks that they use on barbecue pits.
Yeah.
So
you could convert your barbecue pit to take the regular cylinder, but most people just go with the propane.
And that's what I think I probably do now, because $400 for a tank of gas.
Yeah. Some people do that. They convert it. There's a conversion
21
kit.
or 22.
Yeah. I think there's a conversion kit for it.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna do that because Ramco, if you're listening, or any employees from Ramco, all they get all their act together. Or you can't be selling me a new tank with 3 years and a stamp date 3 years.
I mean, that's an important point. They really should sell a tank that's stamped 2025.
Yeah.
So that you get the full 5 years.
Yeah.
That's what they should sell you.
Yeah. So Ramco, because I've done business with Ramco all the time. You understand? In previous times, and even in St. James, I have those 100-pound cylinders. 2 of them. That they're forever. You understand?
Yeah.
So all the girl they act together, please. Don't do me that. And I tell the girl, I said, I'm going on radio with this. She said, oh God, don't call my name. I said, no, it's your fault. You doing your job. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's my story.
All right.
Ramco, they act together.
Let's greet people on the stream now. Post your rant.
Yes, let's do that. And I've seen some new names already. All right. Eunice Dublin. She came in for the first time at 12:02 a.m.
Wait, let me go up one now.
Yeah.
Right.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Eunice Dublin says, blessed morning to all. Margaret Thomas. Brennan Smith says, okay, right. Let's give thanks for another day. Boy Bidesi from DB. Marcia Rock from Orlando, Florida. Michael Cadet, far Rockaway, who was on the play Sunday, Richard. He said, good morning, all. Wendell, what time at Rumbox on Friday? Well, I'm there all day. What's her name? CJ, Charmaine said she'll contact you far Rockaway to plan for Friday, okay? She said she'll be in touch with you. Erica Charles says, thank God for life. Happy birthday to my mom. She's 94 years old today. Love you, Mama. Enjoy your day. Erica, you didn't put your mom's name. So happy birthday to Erica's mom. She's 94 years old today.
Happy birthday.
Mm-hmm. Wendy Ann and Frank Japes says, have a great day. Marlon Motley.
Morning, Marlon.
Ava Smith. Carol Guevara. Julia Batiste. Robert Taylor. Norris Ferguson. Felix Kazoo. Diane Payne also says, good morning, guys, all on the live chat. Too many people are crying because they never get to say, I love you. All right, so she's sending love to everyone on the chat. Good initiative, Diane. Patrick Billy also says, good morning, Kathy and Charles. Subash from Woodland. And I went, gosh. Josie Richardson. Richard, you got the evidence where I went, right? I showed you the evidence.
I saw it.
Somebody said that for Richard. Josie Richardson showing and Julian Kerr. Wayne Ramsey, Sherma Paul. CJ from New York, who's in Trinidad. Anne Noel from Oshawa, Ontario. Gavin Frank, Valerie Mendoza, Ambrose Blah from New York.
Morning, CJ.
Carl Guevara and Dave Tanks.
Valerie Mendoza.
Far Rockaway sends good morning again. Lambert Bruce from El Dorado. All roads lead to Far Rockaway. You do your advertising like Susan Jessup now. All roads leads to Rumbox on Friday. Richard M. Jeremiah, good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Richard.
Carol has missed you yesterday, Richie Rich. Yeah. Odell Guy, Kenny in Harlem, Anthony Miguel, Debbie Modest, Prabha Ramdial, Bernadette and Nelicia Yates, Beauty Culture, Howard Hernandez. She is from Arima. Who is that? Who she is that? I don't know who Howard is speaking about. Oh, the girl who was saved. Is that what he's speaking about? The girl who was saved in 9/11? Is from Arima? I guess that's...
I don't know what you're talking about. You know.
Howard Hernandez is saying she is from Arima. I'm assuming it's the young lady.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, somebody else is saying that too.
Yeah. Ozzy Molino says good morning. Rena Jennings, Chris Tusa says rise. Lennox and Angela Tusa is celebrating their 53rd anniversary. Those are the parents of
Uncle Lennox
and Auntie Angela.
Auntie Angela, happy anniversary. I'm gonna send them a message this morning.
Yeah. I'll do that too. Happy anniversary, Lennox and Angela. Well, Angela and Lennox to say. Alistair Hart says good morning. Magic also says grand rising. David McCarthy to the terrific trio, maximum respect. David Wares, Wendell just changed the gas line head. Yeah, that's what I think I'll do. I don't know if it'll fit, but because I might have to put the tank on the outside now. This tank actually fits underneath the grill. David Wares, we all do that. Joan Bob didn't finish her message. She just said I. Slick Money Grip, DL, convert to LPG and you're good to go. Sankofa says sounds like a no. Well, I hope it's not that Sankofa. It's just they need to fix that issue of their expiration date. Lincoln says good morning from Florida. Lincoln is traveling apparently through the US. Lyndon, good morning. Melchizedek, Andre Reno, Andrea, Wayne Joseph from Ontario, Simcoe, Ontario. Okay, Howard Hernandez is confirming it's the girl he's speaking about with the 9/11. Edwin Joseph and Anthony Atwell says greetings, Wendell, Richard, and Sir Charles. Okay, so those are the greetings on the chat.
All right, so to the people on the WhatsApp chat as they're coming in, good morning to Terry Ann Peters, to Vincent Ashton, good morning to you. Carlin in Karanach, good morning. Archbishop Ashton Clark, Canada, good morning. Horatio, good morning. Kent, good morning. Mark, Mr. Beeps, good morning. Fifi in Ethiopia, Zena, good morning. Frankie out there in Aruka, Captain Ron in Orlando, Howard Fats International people, Brenda in Penal, Ron DeSantis in Virginia, the most miserable man in the net, Joyce Phillips, and
good morning, Howard. Howard came to the show too.
Yeah, as Diana Saturday said. So those are the people this morning who are here with us, and to everybody who are streaming on YouTube and everybody else on Dial and wherever you are this morning, we welcome you and thank you very much for being here.
All right, so let's pay some bills, and when we come back, we go through headlines and then take your calls. Of course, our guest in the next hour will be former minister, current MP, and chairman of the People's National Movement, Marvin Gonzalez. He'll be our guest in the next hour. All right.
Charm Flair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop. located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Champlain, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Davanti tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Champlain Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Champlain. We do it all.
Pay $1 down on hire purchase plans at Furniture Plus. Enjoy fast approval, low interest rates, and up to 36 months financing. Retirees, self-employed, and permanent employees apply today. Buy now, pay later with Furniture Plus credit plans. Conditions apply.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box. Yes, of course, we are back on the breakfast show just after that short break. Of course, we now go into our headlines, and Wendell will start with the Express. Not so, Wendell?
Of course I will. I didn't realize you came back so fast. Of course, today's Express are the headlines, well, some of the stories that are trending in the online version. U.S. strikes second boat, 3 killed. I don't know if you all saw that video. You know what? Just allow me to say this. I don't understand, though, this trend there, Ragwa, or whoever in Venezuela. Just so you sacrificing people and sending them out there now, knowing fully well that the U.S. out there. You're just sending out people with drugs, allegedly with drugs, and say, oh, you carry them, go on, go America, or go out in the ocean with these drugs now, go. People really doing that? We expected to believe that? Listen. Anyway, crazy war talk. Of course, Nicolas Maduro has finally spoken. He hasn't said about anything for a little while. And he's calling on the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago to take it down. Basically, those are my words. You understand? That, well, he called her a crazy woman. Last chance for TKR. That's in cricket, of course. TKR is now in the eliminator game. So if they lose, that's it. Leacock, I was never available. That story is apparently has to do with sports and some other stories. Maduro cameless threats like declaring war on Venezuela. Trump announces second deadly U.S. strike on alleged Venezuelan drug boat. Pro-Venezuela Facebook users take aim at Trinidad. Grenadian-born man drowns at Bucco Reef. British friend injured. And of course, last chance for TKR. If we lose the next match we play, we are out. All right? Those are stories trending in today's Express.
All right, so I'll go to the Newsday. Educator Dr. Lennox Bernard praises Barbados for buying Banyan archives. So yes, thank you, Barbados. Barbados seems to be more responsible about a lot of things and more devoted to Caribbeanism than anybody else. U.S. destroys another boat in international waters. Autopsy delaying investigation into SRP's death. Flooding in San Fernando, Pinal, and Port of Spain. Maduro says Canada has lost the mind, calls for respectful relations. And a 64-year-old man found shot dead in Bacalet. And Grenadian drowns, UK national injured in Buku boating accident. And that's it, basically, as the main headlines in the news day. Over to you and the Guardian, Sir Charles.
Okay, so shake up in TTPS. Meister sent on 16 months leave. 3 DCPs shifted amid reported tensions. Student who fought with teacher placed on after-school program. PM, relations good, but Venezuela must take deportees back. Maduro questions who is whispering in Kamala's ear. I wonder if he would like to. Flash floods swamp South Trinidad residents stranded. Well, that in West was the same thing too.
Yeah.
Transport Minister renews road safety appeal after weekend deaths. And boy, that was plenty. PM, foreign forex legislation coming this year. Government already drafting bill. And PSA leader, we expect 10% wage increase to be delivered. Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you, Sir Charles. I'm not so sure what is the purpose of that forex legislation. What is the great legislative need to know who gets the forex or how forex is allocated, since it's generally a confidential thing, which even the current central bank governor indicated is a confidential financial situations. And I don't know, and the business community is so quiet these days. I don't know how this impacts the business community, because they're very particular about privacy, and that affects investment decisions. All those kind of things affect investment decisions in terms of how people deal with businesses, and it has a very unfriendly tone.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. It has an unfriendly tone, and I don't know how UNC, and maybe you all can answer me. There's somebody from the UNC. How does that become a priority in terms of your legislative agenda? Because there's so many other things that I think need to be addressed in terms of your promises that will improve people's lives tangibly in terms of Trinidad and Tobago. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's legislation that you could have done. Why is that a priority?
It's going down the road of spite and vindictiveness again.
But maybe it is that, which is a silly way to rule.
Yeah.
If it is that, I mean, I don't know if it is that, but it just seems weird that would be a priority on your legislative agenda. The other things that you have promised, public servants and private pensioners not being taxed, that's more important and relevant to people. Things like that, I don't know if the property tax was ever actually repealed. Was it? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if it was actually repealed. So what does that mean if it wasn't? And isn't that a priority if it hasn't been done? I mean, so it's a little weird. It's a little weird, I think. And, well, that's one trajectory. The other trajectory, the moving away from being non-aligned, I don't know what is going on in the US. But if Venezuela was ever to bomb Trinidad and Tobago or attack Trinidad and Tobago because of whatever the US does, and as I said, the US has not turned out to be the most trusting partner from watching international relations play out before our very eyes, in terms of the EU and even the Qataris, which is causing an issue right now. But the European Union is very cautious now of the Americans and what they say they stand for and when they stand behind you, etc. And I'm not saying that they're going to do that us, but the only way you could talk with such bravado is because you feel to have a bigger person behind you. It's like you're confronting a bully, and you're small and diminutive, and you tell the bully, why you don't come now, but you have your big brother behind you. But if the big brother step away, you still here with the bully. And I don't understand, it just makes no sense to me. The almost provoking statements from the Prime Minister to the Venezuelans. Why would you go down that road?
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't support the US. I'm not saying not to support the US interdiction of drugs in the area. But you don't have to be so provoking and saying statements when we know we are no match militarily for the United States. I mean,
Venezuela.
For Venezuela.
Yes.
And so it seems, and if that was ever to happen, that Trinidad and Tobago is attacked, that would be on UNC's head.
Yeah.
Because a lot of citizens are cautioning why you, because we don't have that. We don't have that in the Caribbean generally. The Caribbean generally tries to stay out of it. And we try to be a zone of peace. So why would you go down that road? It just makes no sense to me. Yeah. And Sean Sobers, with all due respect, give up the post. Because anytime anything is done and anybody's trying to get on you, and I'm watching news channels, there is no report and you're not standing up before the media. And I mean, you should be the spokesperson to speak on these issues. If you want transparency in government, transparency means accessibility. You know, so don't mouth and say things on the platform, and then when it comes down to the hard brass tacks of facing the media and the forge estate and being accessible and transparent in terms of questions, and these are real life questions. I have never, Venezuela basically said, the defense minister says, if they are attacked from the US and Ghana or Trinidad, allowed to be the countries to be used, we are a target.
Yes.
Never in Trinidad and Tobago's history has that happened before. And people are defending that. The level of loyalty that people have to some political parties, and I'm talking all here. I don't care which party it is. The level of loyalty that has sometimes affect all your gray matter is astonishing. all here. Yeah. PNM, UNC, all here.
You're very right. I can't add to it, except that, have you all noticed how quiet Ghana is? Ghana has been saying nothing.
Well, Ghana now coming out of an elections too. But,
I know, but prior to that.
But Ghana is not touting and saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's our closest, largest neighbor. So I have no problem if it is that you want to tacitly support the United States and what they're doing. That's fine. That's a country issue. That's a issue. You can make those kind of policy decisions. But there is no reason to be pushing the fire. It's like two big people facing up. There's another version of it. And you are the little diminutive dwarf in the middle. Sorry, no offense to dwarfs. But anyway, they're part of folklore. And you're there. I say, yeah, beat them up. Yeah, put the fire. Yeah, you feel bad, come here now. That, what?
Yeah.
And then the big man got off, and you are the little one there, and he said, yeah, beat them up. When you turn around, so you see nobody there. Beat them up. Crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if Sir Charles, if you got that video with Maduro. There was a video released yesterday with Maduro saying, talking about the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, he said tone it down. I mean, I don't understand. Well, there's nothing to add to what Richard just said, actually, no? There really is nothing to add to it. But we do have Mariano Brown as our guest tomorrow, who will talk on that Forex issue and certain other issues that you raised as to why is the need to legislate it, why is the need to expose people who get in Forex. You understand? Just fix it. If there's a way to fix it, fix it. You don't have to say who gets in it. Just fix it. Stop giving them, if that's the case. You understand?
My only... What you're saying to fix Wendell?
No, the Forex issue. Just fix it. If you feel that certain people get in too much, well then don't get in so much.
Well, that would be a central bank issue, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
And I don't like, and I would have said this with the PNM and the machinations of Colma Imbert. I don't like when governments meddle too much with the central bank. Okay? Because it goes down that road of one, because governments never, in democracies, governments always have a troubled relationship sometimes with central bank and what they put up, because the central bank is about, this is the picture. This is what it is. And they have certain rules by which they function, and they are not necessarily beholden to any political party. So that's why President Trump sometimes may have problems with the Federal Reserve and stuff like that, of what they do and tries to influence it. But in democracies, that sometimes happens. And I just think that anytime it comes to interfering too much with central bank powers, I get cautious. And I was because Commonwealth used to kind of, remember, he came under fire for some of the things that they would have brought up in terms of how much you encroach on the independence of the central bank. And so I always find you have to be vigilant about governments, period, and what they're doing with regard to the central bank and the powers of the central bank.
Yeah. But you know,
remember politicians always have an agenda, and politicians' agenda is to remain in power.
Yes.
So ultimately, you always had to watch them, you know, whoever they are. And we had watched Corbyn, and he got a lot of criticism that came out of the media with regard to some of the machinations that he was trying to do. And sometimes they had to pull back on certain amendments.
Yeah.
Because of the uproar.
Yep. He wanted control of everything that he
I mean, had to go to the minister and all that sort of thing. So there was a lot of pushback a lot of times with legislation with regard to that. So you have to be always vigilant with politicians, because politicians' number one issue often is to remain in power.
And to remain in control. Not so much in power, but in control.
So
but prior to Rambaran stint during the People's Partnership term, we didn't have much issues with central bank governors before. You know, they were never public like that, like how that became when government changed and Jawala was central bank governor. It never became, even when Winston Dukaran, who was really the first politician to become a central bank, Winston Dukaran had a fairly quiet stint as central bank governor.
Yeah, Jawala Rambaran, well, that was one that the PNM kind of mishandled to a certain degree, in my opinion. He mishandled the Jawala Rambaran issue, and of course, he eventually won his case.
Yes.
You know, so. But I tell you, sometimes I am so tired of the politics and I mean, I'm not even talking about Trinidad and Tobago alone. I'm talking about internationally. That sometimes I just avoid news because I just don't feel like dealing with it. And why are we talking so much when we have people? This is the point for people to talk.
Yeah, let people talk now, Richard.
Let's stop talking so much.
But what you had to say and what we've spoken about this morning, very important. Sometimes we had to talk to, you know, that's why we getting paid. Oh, sorry.
Right. So people call us now at 281-1315 so that you can get in on the show. And then we will give you the poll in a little bit. Good morning to you, caller.
Yeah, good morning. Norfolk, Virginia, front and center. Morning to you, Sir Charles. Morning to you, Richard, and good morning to Sir Hugh Hefner Wendell. How you doing?
Morning.
Hey, Richard. All right. Hey, I got Richard disappeared there. He missed yesterday. Anyway, hey, you know what? What is, I shouldn't ask, what is this woman thinking? But people, do you know that the Japanese in their constitution, it is set in there that their defense forces are just specifically for that purpose, defense. It's in the constitution of Japan, right? They can be part of any peacekeeping force. They can be part of any external force or whatever the case may be. And you guys said the logistics behind it. We don't have the hardware and all of that. But I think even with the establishment of our independence, so to speak, it's somewhere written in there with a guarantee that our defense forces of all the islands in the Caribbean Sea here, that this is what we are, when we set up our defense forces. That's what it's for, defense. And being part of the Commonwealth was part of the deal that will be covered by, the bigger nations and so on. So I am totally, I don't know, man. I'm very, very concerned. And let me tell you something. You see that that general in Venezuela, when he's talking there, he's talking it to the effect that, listen, anything he said, Maduro is behind 100% and whatever they say, they censor everything or whatever, right? So just be like the Swiss, man. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
You know why you can't be? Yeah, do that. But anyway, look, you all have a good morning, man. We pray for TNT.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Perfect.
All right. Mr. Patrick, good morning to you.
Yeah.
Good morning, Wendell. Richard Ragoobarsingh and Wendell.
Yeah, man.
Good morning.
Morning.
You know, I listened to the conversation this morning about the speech. And a lot of people don't realize how deadly speech could be, Nice? But the things they saying and they promoting and inciting things. Right, now that I want to talk about. I was reading 2 headlines yesterday where the mental health expert was saying a lot of people in Trinidad and Tobago could be very suicidal after all these lost jobs. I wonder if people realize how serious loss of that job could be. Nice? And number 2 now, the banking sector say a lot of people who lost their jobs cannot service their loans. And they will have to do something to raise interest rates or do something for loan recovery. So you see how ripple effect things that happen? And people have taken it slightly.
It is.
So and you need to get somebody from the mental health institutes and the banking sector to deal with them issues, Mr. Richard Ragoobarsingh. We have a pleasant evening. Morning.
You talking me so like I have some. I'm saying that.
Yeah, we're actually trying to get somebody.
You mean we get somebody here to talk about it? But
I didn't raise that in the chat recently, and over the weekend.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Good morning, Sina.
Along those lines.
Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Richard, Wendell.
Morning,
and all those who are locked on.
You look nice. You dress up pretty, man.
Locked on.
Good morning, Tina.
When she reach here, you know.
Yeah. See, you're well put yourself out over the weekend. You look nice.
Yeah, man. You know me, I got to go anytime, anyhow, anywhere. I want to agree with Richard this morning, in terms of that being worried about when you see a touch Central Bank and then they come and they touch First Citizens Bank. It worries me a lot. You understand? I don't know. I am very, very worried about what is going on with the finances, because before they could have sit down good in the chair, it jump and close down that new association, I remember the name there, was collecting property tax and so.
The Revenue Authority.
Yeah, the Revenue Authority.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So when you jump and close down that kind of source of income, how you going to think you're going to balance your books and how you will pay people and all the promises you made? Remember that I don't know if there's any country. It have countries that maybe don't tax people, but they know how they survive in. But where in the world a country running without some sort of taxes being paid? And your gas and oil revenue drop, and you expect to make all those grand promises, and you couldn't stand up to it. I am very worried about that. You understand? And there's something else I wanted to talk about. You remember how I keep talking about being worried about this continuing story with the Prime Minister keep only throwing backwards. How could you be so offended? You call him a narco trafficker and all that for so long. And when somebody talk and say about Madman, all effects, and everybody's so annoyed. But they have to stop the nonsense. We and I keep saying again, we will be serious collateral damage. And I don't know if the people, a lot of sensible people here in this country, I find it very mum. I'm not hearing different organizations. I'm not hearing certain people who like to speak out, who used to speak out when Dr. Rowley was there. I'm not hearing the organizations. Where are they? Even
afraid of being victimized. That's what. That's why. They're afraid of being victimized.
Well, and I don't understand it, and how they didn't afraid that they weren't afraid of Dr. Rowley. They feel they're gonna beat up on him all the time, and everything he do, and say he must apologize. And this one he ain't getting away with I don't know what. Anyhow, let me let somebody else talk. Good morning.
All right.
I wonder why. I wonder if the President Trump, he just called President Trump names, Mr. Maduro.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He probably would have. And you know what is concerning? I'm glad you bring up that. You know, Sir Charles and Wendell and listeners and viewers. You know what is concerning to me? Let me tell you what is concerning to me. That the US is doing whatever, and I think a lot of people support the US being in the area and the drug trafficking. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with that. We will have issues of bombing boats without due process, issues like that. So it's not that you're anti-American about them being in the area. That's not the issue. You are defending the Americans and saying they have a right. Okay, I'm talking about the Prime Minister and saying bomb them, kill them violently, and then warning Venezuela. And now Venezuela, the defense minister, has basically threatened Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana and said, if you allow the US to use your country as a base for any attack on us, you are a target. The defense minister see that, right? The vice president has said things, and now Maduro says things. President Maduro. Okay, but there was not even a veiled threat. It was a direct threat that if you use your country, we will retaliate. Why are the Americans not saying anything in defense of Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana? Why the Americans are not saying anything like, do not threaten Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana because we will come for you?
Yeah, but why is he not also sending the threats to America also to say, hey,
well, they always saying things about America. They always exchanging words. They always exchanging words. What is unusual in this situation, Sir Charles, is not that. They could say all kind of words to each other. What is unusual is Trinidad and Tobago, a small island in the Caribbean, so obviously saying stuff back. That's unusual.
Yeah, well, and I agree with that, but I also, I can't recall wherever I had seen him or read that he said Mr. Trump is a madman.
What? He said worse things about Mr. Trump.
Yeah, but then I started to be like,
Google it. Just Google it.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that, so that's what I'm saying. That part of it, Sir Charles, no, they always exchanging insults. And that's not an issue. People would just look at that as an exchange of back and forth. But the issue is a small Caribbean island state getting involved in the melee. And why the US is not saying, why is the US not telling the Venezuelan defense minister, don't be threatening Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago.
Hands off Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, don't be threatening them. Why he not? Because we are defending them via the Prime Minister. Basically saying, do what you want. Whatever it is that they say.
Maybe that is the trigger they're looking for. But the poll is up, so let's do the poll.
Yeah. Let me find out if the trigger will be pulled. Because if America could go and do what they need to do quietly without a loss of life or without any bombs flying, then fine, But so our question this morning: do you believe the United States will actually invade Venezuela? I'm sorry I couldn't play that video, Sir Charles, that I sent.
Yeah, I can't get it. I can't get it.
Your link is strange.
Yeah. My link strange?
Your link is strange.
Yes. Charles. Or mine?
Yours.
Charles.
You're Wendell Stephens. Wendell Stephens.
Right?
I sent him the same links I get him. It's not, I didn't make up the link.
Yeah, but the link is strange because usually it starts with www. It doesn't start with that. It starts with VM, which is strange already. If you look at the link address. So your link address is strange.
Okay. All right. So do you believe the United States will actually invade Venezuela? Of course, yesterday there was a second strike on another alleged drug boat with 3 people on board. So just now we go hear a drug boat that with nobody on board. Because it went from 11 down to 3. The next drug boat will have nobody on board. So that's our poll this morning. We'll go for the news, and when we come back, we'll do the poll, and then we'll get into our guest, okay? You know, hold on, don't go yet.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is News Now on New Era TT Radio and Guile Caribbean. I'm Derek. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has accused Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar of going crazy, claiming she threatened to authorize attacks from Trinidad and Tobago against Venezuela. At a press conference today, Maduro described the Prime Minister's remarks as a declaration of war, questioning who was whispering in her ear and suggesting U.S. influence. Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino also warned that Venezuela would respond to any attack launched from Trinidad and Tobago or Guyana, calling it legitimate defense. The tensions follow Persad-Bissessar's recent support for U.S. military operations in the Caribbean, which Venezuelan officials have condemned as dangerous and provocative. So far, the government has not issued a response to Maduro's latest statements. As tensions mount between Venezuela and the U.S. in the southern Caribbean, online chatter is fueling fears in Trinidad and Tobago. Pro-Venezuelan pages have been flooded with threats that the twin island could be left without water, electricity, or even its independence if its territory is used against Caracas. Many posts echo harsh words from Venezuelan Justice Minister Diosdado Cabello, who earlier mocked Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar as a drunk woman after she welcomed U.S. military support and endorsed a strike that killed 11 alleged traffickers. Some users even claimed Trinidad once belonged to Venezuela, while others called for a halt in trade. But on the ground, Venezuelan migrants in Trinidad say they welcome U.S. presence. Activist Angie Ramnarine says many remain anti-Maduro and hope outside pressure could help restore democracy in their homeland. Economist Dr. Indira Sejawan is urging government to create sustainable jobs for unskilled workers affected by cuts to make work programs. Speaking on CNC3's Morning Brew, she acknowledged the need to address corruption in the unemployment relief program. But she warned that sending home hundreds of workers without alternatives threatens social and economic stability. Sejawan said programs like CEPE were never meant to be lifelong jobs, but rather short-term employment paired with training. She argued that previous governments failed to create pathways into the wider job market. Her comments come after 400 URP workers were dismissed last week, following earlier cuts at CEPE and the reforestation program. The National Council of Parent-Teacher Associations has reversed its stance on armed police in schools. NPTA President Walter Stewart told CNC3's Morning Brew the decision follows a violent altercation between a teacher and a student at Arima North Secondary. Just 2 weeks ago, Stewart had opposed placing armed officers in schools. Now, he says they are necessary for rapid response if serious incidents occur. He stressed, however, that officers must act professionally and suggested rotating them among the 50 assigned secondary schools to avoid becoming too familiar with students. One man is dead and another injured after a boating incident at Buku Reef Marine Park in Tobago. The Office of the Chief Secretary confirmed that 71-year-old Grenadian national Neil Morris of Bathway St. Patrick drowned, while a British national was injured. He is in stable condition, receiving medical care and being supported by his wife. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine has reached out to Grenadian and UK officials to ensure support for both families. The Division of Tourism's Crisis Management Unit coordinated the response, while the Division of Health will provide trauma counseling for friends of the victims. Finally, in international news, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned Hamas leaders they have no immunity wherever they are, after last week's strike in Qatar. Speaking in Jerusalem alongside U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Netanyahu defended Israel's right to act beyond its borders. The attack in Doha, which killed 6 but missed Hamas leaders, sparked international outrage and drew sharp criticism from U.S. President Donald Trump. Netanyahu insisted Israel acted alone, while Rubio maintained Washington's ties with Gulf allies remain strong. Their meeting comes as Arab leaders rally in support of Qatar and as Israel presses forward with demolitions and plans for ground operations in Gaza City, where the UN warns famine and intensified fighting could trigger a deeper humanitarian catastrophe. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Your mid-morning just got better. Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
Bam bam, it's bam bam your life. Bitsy bitsy, bam bam your need. Bam bam, it's bam bam your life. Bam bam, every time it pass, boy you're watching it. Every time it pass, boy you're watching it. It's bam bam your life. Watch it. It's bam bam your need. Watch it. It's bam bam in front, behind, want to take a wine, how your weekend on your knees. It's bam bam your life. Watch it. It's bam bam your need. Watch it. It's bam bam in front, behind, want to take a wine, how your weekend on your knees. Sweet woman is the remedy and the healing for the soul. The gal and them is trouble when they coming out on the road. It don't matter the shape or size, every woman looking so good. It's gal on gal and they whining and their behavior looking so good. Baby, you like it? Yeah. You want it? Yeah. You need it? Yeah. Come get it. Baby, you like it? Yeah. You want it? Yeah. You need it? Yeah. Come get it. Every time it pass, boy, you're watching 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 it. It's bam bam your life. Watch it. It's bam bam your need. Watch it. It's bam bam in front, behind, want to take a wine, how your weekend on your knees. It's bam bam your life. Watch it. It's bam bam your need. Watch it. It's bam bam in front, behind, want to take a wine, how your weekend on your knees. Every time I pass, every time I pass, every time I pass, you're watching me. Bam bam. Every time I pass, every time I pass, every time I pass, you're watching me. Get on move, baby. You like it? Yeah. You want it? Yeah. You need it? Yeah. Come get it. Baby, you like it? Yeah. You want it? Yeah. You need it? Yeah. Come get it. Every time it pass, boy, you're watching 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 it. It's bam bam your life. Watch it. It's bam bam your need. Watch it. It's bam bam in front, behind, want to take a wine, how your weekend on your knees. It's bam bam your life. Watch it. It's bam bam your need. Watch it. It's bam bam in front, behind, want to take a wine, how your weekend on your knees. It's bam bam your life. Watch it. It's bam bam your need. Watch it. It's bam bam in front, behind, want to take.
Well, whatever you like, whatever you need, and that is what we're bringing to you here inside
It's bam bam your need.
the breakfast show right here on New Era TT Radio.
Wine, how your weekend
Remember, we stream all day, every day on New Era TT Radio, right? NewEraTTRadio.com. Of course, like, subscribe on the YouTube channel. And of course, don't forget to hit that support button. It's very much needed, all right? Just to let you know what's happening inside of the Drive Time Exchange this afternoon on the Drive Time Exchange with journalist Tony Fraser. He's going to be exploring the world of non-traditional medicine. And Dr. Harry Ramnarayan shares insight from his practice, while hotelier Barry Collymore opens up about turning away from conventional treatments after they made him feel worse. All that is happening inside of the Drive Time Exchange right here on New Era TT Radio this afternoon from 4 p.m. That will be your next engagement to all the folks on the YouTube and the Facebook, all right? Continue to vote on the poll, so when we come back, we will tie that up. We have our guests on the inside. So let's finish pay the bills and we will be back shortly.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Don't miss Furniture Plus Inventory Blowout Sale. Get up to 65% off in-store and online. Enjoy massive savings on furniture, appliances, and more. Hurry, this deal won't last. Shop now and save big at Furniture Plus.
Chamflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop. Located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Chamflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Devantry tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Chamflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Chamflair. We do it all.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
All right, we are back after this 7 o'clock news, and a friend of mine sent before we get into the poll, when Richard comes back in, sent me something on these propane tanks. Morning Harper. He said a properly maintained home propane tank can last for decades, with above ground tanks often reaching 30 years or more, while underground tanks have a shorter lifespan of about 20 to 30 years. So the same propane tank that they tell me only lasts in 5 years, according to this Google report here, can last 30 years. Ramco, get all your act together.
Ramco is doing it on the basis of safety, Wendell. If you want your tank to blow up while you're barbecuing your chicken, who you want to blame?
I'm just saying.
Who you want to blame?
So where does Google report come from?
Who you want to blame?
Not based on safety too?
Yeah. Who you want to blame if your tank blow up? You say, oh God, Ramco, they screw me. Oh God, look what happened. You want to make bacchanal.
You're sounding just like the lady yesterday. That's exactly what she said. That's exactly what she said. But don't sell me an expired tank, a close to expired tank then.
That they should schedule 2025 time. That I agree with.
All right. So our poll, you want to put it up again, please?
Oh, sorry.
I wanted to say one thing just as we were going on the news. Is it because the Minister of Defense, Homeland Security, made a statement recently that all those who are not supporting the Commissioner of Police need to leave? Is that why all of a sudden ACP, not ACP, is ACP or DCP? Oh, yes. What position here? And these are
I think it's ACP.
ACP Meister was sent on 16 months leave. They say he didn't ask for the leave. That's what the report says. Is he one of the people who not supporting the new commissioner?
Yeah.
We don't know.
We'll have to get Richard, send a message to Commissioner Guevara again.
Yeah. No. But remember the present Homeland Security Minister also was sent on like what? How much years? 2 years leave or something like that.
Yes.
And for us, plenty leave inside.
And get the poll results, please, or you'll
so Charles, are you saying the police service is a mess?
I don't say that. You say that.
You want Sir Charles feeling the need to chit-chat some more, or are we getting the poll results?
Let's start the votes. Do you believe the United States will actually, and that's the important word there, invade Venezuela? Our votes start. David McCarthy, no. Andrea, okay, she didn't vote. Gavi Hazel, yes. Kazim Mohammed, no. Slick Money Grip, no. Diane Payne, yes. Magic, no. Dave Gosine, no. Alistair Hart, no. Terrence Roach, no. Classic Brother, no. Anthony Atwell, yes. Gregory Boyer, no. Ron DeSantis, I don't think that's a vote. You all need to start with the votes, as I said. Kenny and Harlem, no. Jossie Richardson, no. CJ, no. Derek Billewin, yes. Trini Beefman, yes. Shoma Paul, no. Carol Guevara, yes. Ingrid from Tucson. Hey, Ingrid, long time no hear from. She says yes. Colton Finch, yes. Lester Cragwell, no. Michael Cadet, yes. Beauty Culture, yes. I vote no. That's Andre. Debbie Mitchell didn't vote. I feel I had to set up something with Magic and Ron and DL and Beauty Culture in one separate chat. Ava Smith, yes. Julia Batiste, no. Sankofa, yes. Sherwin Kerr, no. Robert Taylor, no. Eunice Dublin, no. Keanu Flavor, yes. That's a new name. And Jason Samuel, no. All right, those are the votes I have on the chat.
Okay, so on the WhatsApp, Pauline says no. Judith in Tobago says no. Terry Ann says no. Dabadi says no. Frank says no. Horatio says yes. Brenda in Pinal says yes. Captain Ron in Orlando says no. Fifi in Ethiopia says no. Zena says yes. Junior says, what Junior say, boy? Junior, 1 minute, I gotta go back to Junior. Junior says yes. And Joseph Clement says no. Sean Ram says no. And finally, Sexy Red says no.
All right, I have 3 more votes for you. Well, I have a few more votes for you, Richard. Anne Noel, no. Chris Toussaint, yes. Debbie Mitchell, no. Melchizedek, yes. And Marlon Motley, yes.
All right, so
Cheryl Henry also said yes. We'll end with Cheryl Henry.
Yeah.
All right, so our poll this morning, do you believe the United States will actually invade Venezuela? We had 51 people voting on the poll this morning, and of the 51 people voting on the poll, 20 of you said yes, and 31 of you said no. So 31 said no, 20 of you said yes. So it was, pretty competitive at points.
Yeah.
But the nays pulled ahead. And so the nays are saying, no, they do not believe the United States will actually invade Venezuela. So that's our poll results for this morning. thank you very much. The poll is now done.
Richard, I was told that link that I sent actually has HTTPS in it.
No, not HTTP. I did over the link. I got the correct link. You got it from somebody who sent it to you, and then you sent it to us. So the link got further compressed, and it changed from www to VM. So I clicked on the link, got the correct link, and then so I could actually download it now. But I didn't download it because I know we have a guest, and Mr. Marvin Gonzalez is beating on us in the green room.
All right, well, let's bring him in.
Oh, well, we should get into.
Where you going? He disappeared. As he said, let's get into, he disappeared.
Well, let's get into the Let's Talk segment.
I just bumped myself off.
We wanted to know where you're going.
Good morning, Mr. Gonzalez. Thanks for joining us on the breakfast show this morning.
Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Wendell. Good morning, Richard and Sir Charles. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Who's Stephen? He called it.
Oh, sorry. Wendell Stephen.
Stephen, never just talking about.
I want to know.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you all doing? Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And thank you for having me.
Morning, Mr.
Gonzalez. We are good. So, of course, Marvin, we wanted to discuss several issues, but let's start off with the
grandparents
constitutional amendment. Yeah. Constitutional amendment. Citizenship, expansion of citizenship bill. I don't know what exactly the name is, the title is, but that constitutional amendment. I know it was passed in the House of Representatives, but it now goes to the Senate, I assume.
To the Senate, yes. It goes to the Senate.
It goes to the Senate.
Yeah.
But tell us, and I know for a lot of people, they understand the issue of grandparents. They're extending it to grandparents, and if your grandparents were Trinidadian, one of them, you could then claim citizenship, which didn't exist before. And they were purporting that it was help, I suppose, expand the pool of athletes that could claim Trinidad and Tobago citizenship. But I know the opposition leader, as part of your media conference, raised an issue with regard to that constitutional amendment and certain phrasing in other sections. I didn't read the bill, so let me put that out there. But if you could articulate clearly what the issue is.
Yeah, well, let me just add to what Richard said, Mr. Gonzalez, is that the PNM at the end of the day didn't support the bill. And I think that when the news came out, it seemed kind of weird. And I asked the question, but why wouldn't the PNM support this bill? But subsequently, I would have heard an explanation that I thought that the population at large should also hear.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. So let me first...
You took off your camera, though. I don't know why.
It's off?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Just 1 second. Yeah, I was trying to access the I
saw you stretch your hand to read something, but you took off the camera.
Yeah, well, 1 second. Let me see if I can get it back.
I have a lot of people only looking at this show just to see you, so you can't take off your camera.
You see me now?
Yeah, we see you. We see you now.
All right. So the bill that the government brought in Parliament was an attempt or an amendment, a proposed amendment to Section 17 of the Constitution, which allows for persons who were born outside of Trinidad and Tobago, but whose parents or parent was born in Trinidad and Tobago, one parent, father or mother, otherwise than by descent. All right. Descent simply means that the parent was not born in Trinidad and Tobago. But if one parent, father or mother, was born in Trinidad and Tobago, the Constitution allows for that person, notwithstanding the fact that they did not born in Trinidad and Tobago, to to have the right to become a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. All right. A lot of Caribbean countries, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Toul, and Jamaica and England, they expanded that to grandparents, meaning that if your parent or grandparent was born in the country, the specific country, that person can have a right to become a citizen of that country. In our case, Trinidad and Tobago, otherwise than by descent. Simply means that if your parent, and that is in our constitution now, that if your parent became a citizen by descent, meaning that they were not born in Trinidad and Tobago, then you will not have the right to become a citizen. So your parent, father or mother, must be born in Trinidad and Tobago. In the first part of the bill, it expanded that to include grandparents, meaning that your parent or your grandparent must be born in Trinidad and Tobago, and in that regard, you can apply to become a citizen. When the government first, now we were taken by surprise that this bill came, because it was never part of any public discussion, save the week before, the Minister of Sports made some announcement in the context that in order for us to continue to excel in the field of football and athletics and what have you, we need to allow persons in the diaspora whose parent or grandparent was born in Trinidad and Tobago to allow them to become citizens so that they can represent Trinidad and Tobago at the highest level in sports. Well, when we heard of that, well, it didn't seem to be, there didn't seem to be anything objectionable, because it was very much in alignment with what is happening in England, in some part of the Commonwealth. But when we got the bill and the bill was finally circulated, we realized that it was a further expansion, that it is not just parent or grandparent born in Trinidad and Tobago, but it removed the requirement for your parent or your grandparent to be born in Trinidad and Tobago, meaning otherwise than by descent. So if your grandparent was not born in Trinidad and Tobago, has no connection to Trinidad and Tobago, including your parents, the bill is allowing persons to become citizens, notwithstanding the fact that their grandparents or their parents were not born in Trinidad and Tobago. And there was absolutely no precedent whatsoever that in the Caribbean, in the Commonwealth, in England, that allow for persons to apply to become citizens, notwithstanding the fact that their parent or grandparent was not born in the country. And the government, in their argument, because we listened intently, because in our caucus, we said, okay, let us see what is happening and hear the government's justification. And we were not surprised, because we suspected when we look at the proposed amendment that there was something more than sports that the government was attempting to do. And lo and behold, a lot of their speakers talk about brain drain, and we need to expand the opportunities for persons who are living in the diaspora to come into the country, whether they are lawyers, they are part of the professional class, engineers, and what have you, because we have a serious brain drain in the country, where the country needs certain professionals, and those professionals are not available. And persons who would have migrated from Trinidad and Tobago, notwithstanding the fact that they have absolutely no connection to Trinidad and Tobago, notwithstanding the fact that their parent or grandparent had no direct connection to Trinidad and Tobago, but some ancestral link, you allow for those persons to become citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And the government admitted that it is almost 300 to 500,000 people living in the diaspora outside there that can benefit from this amendment. And we told the government that we will support the first part of the bill, which has precedence in the Commonwealth, meaning that you can now expand it from parents who have direct connection to Trinidad and Tobago, was born in Trinidad and Tobago, to include grandparents. But they must be born in Trinidad and Tobago. But when you remove that whole requirement as is stipulated in the Constitution, that it must be otherwise than by descent, then you are opening this up at a level that we do not understand the full implications. And the government's response to our argument was that, well, just trust the system. They have to go through a process, and they will have to meet certain criteria, and the minister will have the discretion to approve or not disapprove and what have you, and we just trust the process. And
if I may interrupt you, Marvin, you talk about that will open it up to the diaspora, but the diaspora would be generally people who have some links to the country.
Well, that is their argument.
It's beyond the diaspora then.
Beyond, it conflicted, as I'm saying. They used that, but they did not realize that their argument was not holding any water.
Oh, because that's what I'm saying. Because if you say the diaspora means there's a connection.
And this is what we told them.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what we told them. So you have a situation based on this amendment where someone, third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation, has no ties whatsoever to Trinidad and Tobago. Don't know our national anthem, has nothing to do with our culture, and these things are real. And when you put these types of amendments otherwise than by descent and make it open like that, I told the government this is like a citizenship fire sale, and there's no country in the world, as a matter of fact, if you observe what is taking place around the world today, they are going in the opposite direction. Not opening up.
But you said part of the reasoning that they gave was that there was a brain drain in terms of people leaving the country. And this was to facilitate, I guess, the replacement of that brain drain.
Professionals.
And so to open it up to professionals who may want to
return to Trinidad.
But not return because they don't have any link.
They become citizens.
To become citizens of this country if they have the requisite skill set. So if we need some petroleum engineers and they are Norwegian or they're from France or whatever, under this clause, they can apply to be citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and move here. What's fundamentally wrong with that, though?
What is fundamentally wrong with that?
If you need that kind of skill set, what's wrong with providing an avenue for that skill set?
We do have an avenue. We do have an avenue under the current laws with respect to, allowing for people who live within the Commonwealth, people who live in CARICOM. And if you cannot get the requisite skill set under the Ministry of National Security or Immigration Policies, there is a system where you allow for specific skill sets to come in and to provide the services to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But it does not mean to say that you have to now open up this whole avenue for persons to become citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, because this is something completely different. When you are bestowed with the right of citizenship, then it means you can come in and you now benefit from all of the resources of the state, the social programs, etc. And and you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people as admitted by the government, and that can have serious implications for our society with people who have no direct connection to the society.
But let me ask the same question in a different way. Is there an economic reason for it? Because you're right, people come here and display their skills, but I don't know that they necessarily want to become citizens. Is it that it's going to be at a substantial cost for them to become a citizen?
Well, the government did not provide the data on that to justify it. They just make wild statements that we can earn billions of dollars when we allow that to happen, to allow for persons with some kind of ancestral links to come into Trinidad and Tobago, and that these people are patriotic, even though their grandparents or parents may not have been born in Trinidad and Tobago, and the country stand to benefit from all of that. But of course, they did not provide any data whatsoever. But they started using the justification of sport. And Mr. Imbert raised a very important point, that even if it is for sporting purposes, the World Athletic Organization and FIFA, their rules do not allow for persons whose parent or grandparent was not born in a particular country to represent this country. And a case in point was when the World Cup was being played in Qatar. And this came about because I was told that the Qatar football team, what they were attempting to do is to recruit players from all over the world, the best players, and to give them citizenship so that they can represent Qatar. And the entire national team comprised of persons who had no direct link, ancestral link to Qatar. And the FIFA, in order to disallow such situation from happening, they impose rules to allow for someone to represent their country only on the basis as to whether their parent or their grandparent was born in the specific country. So we told the government that even if with this amendment in your justification is to allow for persons to come and represent Trinidad and Tobago at the highest level in sporting and what have you, that aspect of the argument that they use, that the current rules in FIFA and at the World Athletic Organization will not allow for those persons to represent Trinidad and Tobago. But we told the government, listen, the first part of the amendment, we will support it. We circulated an amendment that we are going to support, which would allow for a person to become a citizen if their parent or their grandparent was born in Trinidad and Tobago or was a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago otherwise than by descent, meaning that you allow for the parent as well as the grandparent to have been born in Trinidad and Tobago. But the two parts of the clauses in the bill that talks about otherwise than, meaning that you can become a citizen if your parent or your grandparent was a citizen but was not born in Trinidad and Tobago. We are saying that this has no precedent. We're asking for that to be removed and restricted to parent or grandparent being born in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, I remember this talk coming up surrounding the football team, because at the time Angus Heath was coach, and I think they were talking about this grandparent bill allowing, because we would open up ourselves to more talent and players representing Trinidad and Tobago. I remember that this was where this talk started. I didn't realize it had reached this far, because Renee Cummins also wrote a very interesting article that is almost like if it wasn't necessary.
It wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what we told the government in Parliament in our discussion. And trust me, we pleaded with the government to make the necessary amendment at the extent to which that they are making this amendment and how wide it was not necessary. And that if they can listen to our argument and look at the amendment that we circulated on the floor that they got very early in the proceedings, that we will support the bill. And the Attorney General and the government remain adamant that they will go with what they propose. They're going to use their constitutional majority and pass the bill. And that
what was the actual amendment that the PNM suggested?
We asked for that provision B and C in the proposed amendment to be removed, meaning that is otherwise than by descent, meaning that we are the provision that allows for parent or grandparents who were citizens otherwise than by descent, meaning that they were born in Trinidad and Tobago, your parent or your grandparent, that aspect of it we found to be not objectionable, and we supported that aspect of it.
Excuse me, Marvin, I'm a little confused, so maybe you can clear it up. I thought it was some sort of blanket loophole for anybody to become a citizen of Trinidad.
Yes, because it was otherwise than. That is the trick. They asked for otherwise than by descent to have that removed and replaced by including and by descent, meaning that your parent or grandparent does not have to be born in Trinidad and Tobago. And that makes it up extremely wide.
But it could still be citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Must be citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But
so there is still a connection then?
There is a connection, but the connection that currently exists is that you must be born in Trinidad and Tobago.
But what they expanded to is saying, but beyond born, is that if somebody acquired citizenship
by some other means,
they became naturalized.
Yes.
For whatever reason, they went through the process and became a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. It means that their grandchildren can also apply to
and great grandchildren. Yes. And those persons who are now benefiting or who now stand to benefit from this, their children and children can now apply to become citizens. Because you have removed.
Do we have numbers? Do we have numbers for that type of people?
That's why they use it with diaspora, because they're connecting it that there is still some link.
So some link.
There is a link because those persons are citizens. So I think what is the differentiation here is that they're all citizens, but you have citizen by descent and you have citizen not by descent.
That's correct. And the Constitution requires that a person to become a citizen, either their parent or their grandparent must be born in Trinidad and Tobago, otherwise than by descent. So if it is not by descent, you cannot benefit from this. That is currently in the Constitution. That's correct. And the government is not removing this.
Now they've expanded it and said, if your grandparents were born here, one of them, then it's fine. And they're saying if your grandparent was a citizen, even though they were not born, once they were a citizen, you can also apply.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And that's the objection the PNM has.
And that's the objection the PNM has. The PNM is
I don't understand why it's such a big objection.
The PNM
because I thought it was, that's why I was a little confused. I thought there was some blanket clause allowing anybody to come in. But that's not what it is. It's saying that these people are still citizens. They may not have been citizens by birth, but they're still citizens of the country. So they are allowing that their children or grandparents can come in. Their children and grandparents, which is kind of like what Trinidadians do or other people do when they go to the States. They apply for their mother, or they apply for
there's no precedent for this, Richard, where you allow persons, and we looked all over in England, in the Commonwealth, in the Caribbean. A fundamental point is that either your parent, and in other countries they expanded it to grandparent, must have a direct link to the country. They must be born in the country. If they got citizenship otherwise than by descent, then it does not allow for other persons to benefit from
so
it.
You're saying that citizen by descent and citizen by naturalization, you're differentiating between the two?
Yes.
So you're saying that people who are naturalized citizens should not be accommodated with that kind of access to citizenship?
Because you're expanding it. This is expanding.
So you're saying people who are naturalized citizens should be less than. They should not be equated with people who were born here.
And this is what the Constitution is saying, that there must either be a direct link by your parent, now that you're expanding it to grandparent, and we have no objection to expanding it to grandparent. But when you are saying otherwise than by descent, you are saying that even if they were not born in Trinidad and Tobago,
but they were still citizens.
It does, yes.
But it's still
so
citizens.
they've effectively changed the Constitution.
Yes.
I don't know. I get you what you're saying now, but I don't see that. I really don't see that being such a big issue. Because to me, what they're doing is equalizing the playing field and saying that once you're a citizen, you're a citizen. Whether you're by descent or whether you were naturalized, you have the same rights in terms of bringing in your relatives.
No, but
your descendants, I shouldn't say your relatives, your descendants have the same rights in an equal plane. Am I stating it wrong?
And your descendants who may have absolutely no direct or connection whatsoever to the country.
But they won't have a connection because their grandparents would have been citizens of the country. So there is a connection.
Yes, but Richard, you are looking at a situation where hundreds of thousands of people can now fall into that category.
But where, how many naturalized citizens we have?
The restriction is, Richard, is that currently exists is that your parent, now your grandparent, must at least be born in the country.
I understand what you're saying now, because I was totally confused about it, but now it's clearer to me. And I mean, we will have to disagree because I really don't see it being a big issue.
But let me ask a question here.
In my mind, it's not a big issue.
Mr. Gonzalez, do you now? I hear and I kind of agree with what Richard is saying, but what I'm getting from the opposition at this point in time and what they are putting forward, I guess you all have or is looking at some underlying issue that the government may have.
Sinister is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, right. So what is that you all feel that is sinister by the government while they are doing this? What is their reason, do you all feel?
The first justification, when this was announced a week ago, the government used the basis of sports and to allow for persons to come in to represent Trinidad and Tobago at the highest level in sports, especially football and athletics. And when you look at the bill, there's absolutely no mention of this being utilized solely for sports or football or athletics. It gives the minister or the government open powers to allow for persons to become citizens apart from sporting activities. And in their argument, they said, well, listen, this is not only for sports. We can bring in lawyers, we can bring in doctors and to deal with any brain drain situation. But I am not aware that in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a scarcity for doctors and lawyers and specific professionals and what have you, and that you have to make them citizens. You have
we
to
have
make
a shortage
them
of nurses for sure, but go on.
Yeah, but we can continue to train people, and we have the facilities to continue to train our citizens. But to open it up in this way, and to agree that you have a scenario where over 300 or 400 or 500 people stand to benefit from this can have serious implications.
Where are they getting this number from, though? Where are they getting that number from? 300 to 400, 500,000 people. Where's that coming from?
This is what they told the country. This is what they told the parliament. They did not. They did not present the.
Mr. Gonzalez, I wanted to.
Just now, I said.
Hold a minute. Hold 1 minute. Because Mr. Gonzalez did not answer my question. I was asking if what the government is proposing, what is that underlying issue? Because I believe that you all are seeing some underlying issue that why the government wants to go that direction. What do you feel that underlying issue is?
When you allow a situation and you amend your law to allow for over, according to the government, 300,000 to 400,000 and even 500,000 persons to benefit from a provision in your law to become citizens of your country, it must concern you, because this has serious implications for the society, where all of those persons who would not have been born in Trinidad and Tobago, do not know much about our culture, etc. This can have serious implications for our society as we know it.
All right.
But you know what is interesting about this, Marvin? You know what's interesting about this is that Patrick Manning,
they can be registered in certain electoral districts.
Patrick Manning, years ago, when Patrick Manning was the Prime Minister and, of course, the leader of the People's National Movement, he indicated that Trinidad and Tobago's population needs to expand, and it needs to get to a point of 3 to 5 million people.
I don't know
to become economically competitive. But that's an economic thing. That when you're less than 3 million, it's always more difficult for you to survive. Hence, tourism, because that's how small island states survive. The tourism intake kind of bumps the population up in terms of expenditure. And so there's actually an economic thing about the size of your population and what size you need to be. And I remember Patrick Manning raising that issue once, that we have to look at the issue of how the population of Trinidad and Tobago can expand.
I think he was talking about having more children, Richard.
No, he didn't talk about having more children, about making the country more economically sustainable. So this seems contra whatever that thinking was.
I am not aware that in order for us to become economically competitive, that we have to increase our population by 500,000 or 1 million people.
And you know there's an economic thing about that, right?
Perhaps
you
there
know
might
there's an
be
economic
one.
thing about that, right?
But to water down the requirement to become a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago is something that we don't support.
Okay. No, I get the issues that you all have with it. That's just an aside. Well, I remember Patrick Manning bringing up that issue, but that's just an aside.
I don't want to comment
but
on
fundamentally,
on that.
But fundamentally, I would look at this from a very simplistic point of view. In my opinion, I'm saying it's simplistic. If you're a citizen, you're a citizen, whether it's by descent or naturalization. If you're a citizen, all of the benefits that accrue to citizenship should apply.
Yeah.
Let me
ask this question. Should this bill have gone out for consultation before reaching the parliament?
And this is what we also argued, that this came from nowhere. The Prime Minister said that during the election campaign, the member for La Hakata Talparo brought persons from the TTFA who asked for this amendment, and that it was a promise that was made to them in the election campaign. I cannot recall the UNC discussing this particular matter at all on the election campaign. I was a bit surprised when the Prime Minister said that. So she used that, and she used her opportunity to say, well, this is a promise that we made on the election campaign. So something out like that, the PNM is of the view that when you're talking about granting citizenship to people who may have no direct connection to Trinidad and Tobago, and you have a situation where over 100 or hundreds of thousands of people that may stand to benefit from it for other reasons other than sports, that this is a matter that should have been ventilated properly in the country so that our citizens can have a full understanding of what the government is trying to do. But the way in which it was done, as Mr. Imbuch said, it gives the impression that the government has some sinister motive, and that we should all be concerned about this and the way in which it was done, especially when there is no precedent for the amendment in any country and in all of the countries that we looked at.
But Mr. Gonzalez, why is it that you all cannot and have not narrowed down that sinister motive that they have? Why it is that? Because I mean trying to get that from you, and what do you feel that? So let me put it this way: do you think that motive is to affect people who will be able to allow more people to be able to vote in an election? Do you think that is the motive?
But we said that the PNM issued a statement. Let me try and see if I can get it. The PNM issued a statement. Yes, and we said that
you said it's a voter padding issue.
Yes, that there are issues with respect to voting, because once you become a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, you'll be able to vote and have the ability to alter the outcomes of elections. We said it in a public statement. We said it in Parliament.
And
what is the motive of this government? And it is not a far-fetched, unreasonable position, especially given the manner in which it was done. And I will tell you this, something also happened. When the member for La Hakata Talparo was introducing the bill, he kept making reference to an amendment to the Citizenship Act. And we raised an objection in the standing order that the bill that was given to us is an amendment to the Constitution. What is the member referring to when he's talking about a proposed amendment to the Citizenship Act? Of course, he was reading from a prepared text, but in his prepared text, a lot of references were being made to a proposed amendment to the Citizenship Act. So we raised the objection. The speaker, as you know, he shut down the objection. He said, well, nothing prevents a member from referring to consequential amendment that will come at some point in time. Lo and behold, before the end of the sitting, the Attorney General came and admitted that part of the amendment to the Constitution included an amendment to the Citizenship Act. And we only got that at the committee stage of the Parliament. So when these things are being done, and they have to admit, and I raised the issue, the Attorney General apologized. He said that he wasn't aware that it was not circulated. But when the government operates in this particular way, and we have to ask critical questions that they're supposed to have been very transparent with, you must ask yourself, what really is the motive of the government?
But they've already
I can take that point. I can take that point. And if it is that it's done in a way that seems less than transparent, it will raise your radar, so to speak. Okay.
Which they already have a reputation of doing.
The bill that was circulated, Richard, it was an act to amend the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago. That's the bill. That's the bill. And when we listened intently to the minister who introduced the bill, a significant part of his contribution was making reference to amending the Citizenship Act. We asked the speaker, then where is the bill for the amendment of the Citizenship Act? The speaker shut us down and said, well, nothing prevents a minister from making references to consequential amendment that will come at some point in time in the future, not knowing that the future was in this said sitting. And the Attorney General had to apologize to me when I asked the question, and they now had to circulate another amendment to their own bill that removed it from the Constitution Amendment Bill to a long title, an amendment to the Trinidad and Tobago, the words to include and to make consequential amendments to the Citizenship of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago Act. That had to be done in the sitting.
So this bill has to go to the Senate, and the Senate, and they would need the support of a couple of the independents.
At least 4 or 5, huh?
Yes, I think they would need at least 4 independents to support them on this. And I just want to make it abundantly clear that we told the government that we are prepared to support the first part of the proposed amendments, which would extend parents who were citizens otherwise than by descent to include grandparents. It's what we told them that. Other part, which makes reference to otherwise than, which you expanded beyond citizenship by descent, that this is too wide. You will allow for persons who were not born in Trinidad and Tobago to now benefit, and they are now grandchildren of those persons to now benefit from this. And there's no precedent for this, not even in England, who would have made a similar amendment, but just extended it to grandparents. And that even if you do so, when one examines the FIFA rules and the rules regarding athletics and what have you, those persons will still not be able to represent Trinidad and Tobago, because those sporting bodies require that either your parent or your grandparent to be born in the country in order for you to represent the country.
So at the end of the day, it had nothing to do with sport.
Of course not. Nothing to do.
Ah, Lord.
I hear you. I mean, I don't think we have time to take calls, but I don't see this being such a big deal. That's me, but I get it. I get what the objections are.
Richard, a lot of people didn't see Section 34 as a big deal when it was.
Section 34 had some positive attributes to it.
That's what I'm saying.
It looked good on the surface.
As a big deal.
It had some positive attributes to it within the framework of our judicial system.
But Richard, you know, and I hear your point of view, which I respect, of course, and I'm sure that you understand our position as well. But given the importance of this, where you are allowing persons who were not born in Trinidad and Tobago to become citizens of Trinidad and Tobago is a very serious matter. The government should have been more transparent with the population on this.
Well, they're not born in Trinidad and Tobago, but their grandparents are citizens.
But I'm saying the implications of this, Richard, something as important as this. I mean, we were just summoned to Parliament, and we were like wondering, well, what is on the agenda? And then we didn't understand why this
I
was
mean,
so
is there some
important to the
sinister
government.
thing? I don't know. But if your grandparents are citizens, my point is, if your grandparents are citizens, whether they were naturalized or whether they were born here, they should be on an equal playing field in terms of if you are expanding. That's how I see it.
Yeah, there's no precedent for this.
Because the grandchildren who may be living in England
and great-grandchildren
are not citizens, but because their grandparent was born in Trinidad, they can apply for citizenship.
Yeah, there's no...
And so that if their grandparent was a citizen, even if not born, I just find I don't see that the distinction is a big issue. To me, once you're a citizen, and those things should flow.
But there's no precedent for that beyond grandparents, Richard.
Well, then maybe the rest of the world is making a mistake.
We need to get the Attorney General on the program, Richard, okay?
Yeah,
yes,
maybe I'm missing the sinisterness of it all. If there is something sinister at play, but for me, I don't see it as being a biggest.
The Attorney General position was that we should trust the process.
Okay. Well,
that if someone applies to be,
trust and politician don't go in the same sentence.
Time will tell. I'm happy that
but time will tell. We'll see how it all plays out. And certainly, since it has to go to the Senate, we'll see what the independent senators thinking is on it, because the independent senators are the ones that really hold the cards at this point. They can stop it.
Yeah, well, they've already been threatened then. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez, for joining the show and bringing clarity.
I realized I didn't get the opportunity to talk about Stand Your Ground, so I should make myself available again.
Yes,
of course.
The PNM is going to be commencing its public consultation, a national consultation on the proposed bill that the government is introducing, or wants to introduce in this period on Stand Your Ground, and we are going to be starting at the Port of Spain City Hall on Thursday at 5 p.m. and we are asking members of the public to come out. As you know, the UNC in their so-called consultation did not attend or visited PNM constituencies. They only narrowed it to UNC constituencies, and they said their position is that in the PNM constituencies, they will allow the PNM to go there and do their own consultation.
So we all are going there now. Nice. That is excellent.
We are going all over Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, thank you very much.
Starting in Port of Spain.
All right, so thank you very much for being here with us this morning.
Yep.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we go to 8 o'clock news right away, and then when we come back, we close off.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is News Now on New Era TT Radio and Guile Caribbean. I'm Derek. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has accused Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar of going crazy, claiming she threatened to authorize attacks from Trinidad and Tobago against Venezuela. At a press conference today, Maduro described the Prime Minister's remarks as a declaration of war, questioning who was whispering in her ear and suggesting U.S. influence. Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino also warned that Venezuela would respond to any attack launched from Trinidad and Tobago or Guyana, calling it legitimate defense. The tensions follow Persad-Bissessar's recent support for U.S. military operations in the Caribbean, which Venezuelan officials have condemned as dangerous and provocative. So far, the government has not issued a response to Maduro's latest statements. As tensions mount between Venezuela and the U.S. in the southern Caribbean, online chatter is fueling fears in Trinidad and Tobago. Pro-Venezuelan pages have been flooded with threats that the Twin Island could be left without water, electricity, or even its independence if its territory is used against Caracas. Many posts echo harsh words from Venezuelan Justice Minister Diosdado Cabello, who earlier mocked Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar as a drunk woman after she welcomed U.S. military support and endorsed a strike that killed 11 alleged traffickers. Some users even claimed Trinidad once belonged to Venezuela, while others called for a halt in trade. But on the ground, Venezuelan migrants in Trinidad say they welcome U.S. presence. Activist Angie Ramnarine says many remain anti-Maduro and hope outside pressure could help restore democracy in their homeland. Economist Dr. Indira Sejawan is urging government to create sustainable jobs for unskilled workers affected by cuts to make work programs. Speaking on CNC3's Morning Brew, she acknowledged the need to address corruption in the unemployment relief program. But she warned that sending home hundreds of workers without alternatives threatens social and economic stability. Sejawan said programs like CEPE were never meant to be lifelong jobs, but rather short-term employment paired with training. She argued that previous governments failed to create pathways into the wider job market. Her comments come after 400 URP workers were dismissed last week, following earlier cuts at CEPE and the reforestation program. The National Council of Parent-Teacher Associations has reversed its stance on armed police in schools. NPTA President Walter Stewart told CNC3's Morning Brew the decision follows a violent altercation between a teacher and a student at Arima North Secondary. Just 2 weeks ago, Stewart had opposed placing armed officers in schools. Now, he says they are necessary for rapid response if serious incidents occur. He stressed, however, that officers must act professionally and suggested rotating them among the 50 assigned secondary schools to avoid becoming too familiar with students. One man is dead and another injured after a boating incident at Buku Reef Marine Park in Tobago. The Office of the Chief Secretary confirmed that 71-year-old Grenadian national Neil Morris of Bathway St. Patrick drowned, while a British national was injured. He is in stable condition, receiving medical care and being supported by his wife. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine has reached out to Grenadian and UK officials to ensure support for both families. The Division of Tourism's Crisis Management Unit coordinated the response, while the Division of Health will provide trauma counseling for friends of the victims. Finally, in international news, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned Hamas leaders they have no immunity wherever they are, after last week's strike in Qatar. Speaking in Jerusalem alongside U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Netanyahu defended Israel's right to act beyond its borders. The attack in Doha, which killed 6 but missed Hamas leaders, sparked international outrage and drew sharp criticism from U.S. President Donald Trump. Netanyahu insisted Israel acted alone, while Rubio maintained Washington's ties with Gulf allies remain strong. Their meeting comes as Arab leaders rally in support of Qatar and as Israel presses forward with demolitions and plans for ground operations in Gaza City, where the UN warns famine and intensified fighting could trigger a deeper humanitarian catastrophe. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with new Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Don't miss Furniture Plus Inventory Blowout Sale. Get up to 65% off in-store and online. Enjoy massive savings on furniture, appliances, and more. Hurry, this deal won't last. Shop now and save big at Furniture Plus.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Davantry tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Chamflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Chamflair. We do it all.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
All right, so this is where we wrap up the breakfast show this morning, and oh, good God, it's everybody else.
Oh, the chat.
Well, you know, you have to click yourselves in, right? But anyway, yeah, I think it was an interesting conversation with Marvin because I didn't understand that bill too much, and now that I understand it, I'm always, if somebody's a citizen, you're a citizen. That's how I see it. And some people making some statements, Pauline, about how Kamala could now bring in her children and grandchildren from India, her relatives from India. No, you all are misinterpreting the bill. That makes no sense. That's a dotish assessment of it. That's silly. That's not what it is at all. What they're saying is that grandchildren. So if Kamala Prasad Bissessa children had migrated to India and they had children, then those children who are Indian citizens can claim U.S. citizen, Trinidad and Tobago citizenship. And that goes for anybody. That's the expansion. The difference that the PNM is objecting to is not fundamentally that. They don't have an objection with that issue. Their objection is the issue of the term citizenship.
Yeah.
So that if you were a naturalized citizen, you came here and you came here via, let's say, a work permit, and you were working in the oil industry, let's take an example, but you're originally from Norway, and you came to Trinidad and you worked in the oil sector, and eventually you lived and worked here so long, you became a citizen of Trinidad. What the bill is saying is that your children, who might still be living in Norway, and their grandchildren can now apply for Trinidad and Tobago citizenship.
Yes.
Right? Because you are a citizen.
Yes.
I have no fundamental issue with that. Because to me, if you're a citizen, it should be an equal playing field.
Yeah.
It can't be that somebody is more of a citizen than another citizen. That's the fundamental of how I see law. That law is about equivalency and equality. So that if you say that somebody is a citizen and you're giving these rights to a citizen, when you start to say, well, I'm only giving these rights to citizens who were born here, then you're opening a Pandora's box. That's the differentiation. I thought it was something else.
Yeah.
I thought it was a loophole where you were not a citizen at all. And that you were getting some sort of benefit, but you didn't hold citizenship at all.
Here what I think happened. Because this thing started off as a sporting initiative per se, right? Came through the Minister of Sport. Because it was always a discussion that
This is a discussion going on a long time when the PNM never dealt with it. The PNM never dealt with it.
Yes, that's correct. Right? And Angus had a problem with that too, that the PNM never dealt with it. I remember having this discussion with him. So the Minister of Sport, but because it started off from that perspective, which is allowed by FIFA. So now but it extended a little further into something else. It wasn't. So it came under the guise of coming to deal with that particular issue, and then didn't deal with that issue.
But it dealt with that issue, but it added the other issue of saying once you're a
anybody
citizen,
can become a citizen now.
What? No, it's not saying that, and that's my problem. If I'm understanding what Marvin said, and if Marvin said is what is correct, it's not that anybody can become a citizen. It's that your grandparent has to have been a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, in effect, that's what it is. Because
So there is not, and it's so when they say anybody can become a citizen, that's absolutely not what it is. It's that your grandparent is a citizen, meaning that your grandparent is not just a citizen by birth, but they were a citizen even if it's by naturalization. So what they're saying is that once your grandparent is a citizen, whether by birth or not, you have a right as a grandchild to be able to claim citizenship to Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, what I'm taking away from it from a lot of people that I'm hearing, and because and that is why I was trying to get at that sinister. I mean, people are talking about this all over the place. You understand? Yeah. But the thing about it is that they were talking about the voter pardon and letting in this one. But I am saying, but if something is open up, and let us say it is that, and the UNC brings people inside, what stops the other parties from bringing their people also?
I don't know that anybody rushing to become a citizen here. That is my real issue at the end of the day.
That is the next kettle of fish when there.
Yes. I don't know who rushing to become a
all
citizen
of these
here.
people around the planet that say, "Oh, let me go Trinidad."
Yeah.
No, it's 300,000. Marvin just
look at how guarded they are. They have a set of American ships outside there. That's the best place to go right now.
It's 300,000 people that Mr. Gonzalez identified. That or 300,000 to 500,000 people, Richard.
The murder rate higher than where I live in Tobago.
Yeah, exactly. What I understand and where Marvin is coming from, and I think the PNM, is that this UNC government should not be trusted with anything. I think that's basically
fine. I get the point that if the process was not properly done, that you didn't have trust in the process. You can raise alerts in the process. So I understand that politicians are distrustful. I understand that. But the fundamentals of what he said, to me, it's the issue, and as I bring it down to, if you're a citizen, you're a citizen. So if there are benefits to citizenship, there are benefits to citizenship. End of story.
At the end of the day, anyway.
It may become a non-issue because it depends on the independent senators whether it goes through or not. Because the independent senators could stop it right in its track and say no, take that clause out. But if how Marvin explained it is accurate, then to me, if you're a citizen, you're a citizen. That's how I see it.
And your children and grandchildren could come.
Once you're a citizen, if you however you
acquired citizenship.
However you acquired it. Now, once you're a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, you enjoy the benefits of being a citizen of Trinidad.
Clearly, some things may have been said in that parliament. You know, people like to talk across the floor.
That riled up.
That will raise concerns in the PNM bench as to what are these people really pursuing here. You understand?
Yeah. And you know, because you have also the issue of the Venezuelans here, and some are now here for several years, you know, working and having families, so their children are being born here. And so where does all of that fit into this larger picture, and how are you going to regularize them? Because that's going to be a question that's going to come up at some point. Because they've now started to build lives here, so that even if things, I mean, some may be temporary jobs or some may be struggling, but some are doing pretty well.
Business-wise and everything too.
And then who is left to approve this thing at the end of the day? Will it be the Minister of CARICOM? Richard, your mic is off. Will it be the Minister of CARICOM? Who is left to approve these things at the end of the day?
I'm not too sure which minister comes under. In the previous version would be the Minister of National Security.
Right.
Because immigration would come under that.
Right.
So I don't know if it was changed under this administration, whether that portfolio was shifted to somebody else. I don't know.
Immigration, I think, might be defense, Minister of Defense. Anyway, I don't know if you all saw the leaked alleged list of people getting senior counsel in the next dispensation.
Well, I saw you posted it up.
Interesting names. Some interesting names. Never a dull day in Trinidad and Tobago.
But maybe tomorrow we'll go through it.
No, we'll have Mariano Brown coming to talk.
But we can't go through it. We don't know if it's real.
Yeah.
So we can't go through it. So Charles, what kind of responsible news program are you running?
Wendell put it out there.
Maybe
a good source? Wendell is not a credible source?
Sir Charles looking for the bacchanal. Let me tell you something. I get things from some high officials, you know.
You see, Wendell have the sources.
But remember last time the list came out, it came out, and it changed, and it changed.
And it changed. It did change back and forth.
Yes.
Yeah, it did change.
Nizam Mohammed's name was on the list, the first list that came out last year. And it changed. His name knocked out. Well, it's back on the list. Let's see.
Didn't he say that he didn't want it or something like that?
No, he said he wasn't, because he said his name was changed at last minute. We interviewed him.
Oh, okay.
He said his name was there and it was removed.
But when we get the official list, we'll go through it then. All right? That might be better. But people, we have to go. So,
and he said his name was moved. You know,
anyhow,
who knows he may get through it. GT this time.
Oh, Lord. He's one going talking.
Yeah, this is where we wrap it up.
A mile and a half.
But
this is where we wrap it up on the breakfast show this morning.
Well, all right. Time for us to go.
Yeah, so let's wrap it up at the breakfast show this morning. Thank you for joining us and the conversation this morning. We know you have choices, and thanks for choosing us.
Yes.
Of course, we'll speak to you bright and early tomorrow morning. You remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. Of course, theater will be back next weekend, not this weekend, coming next weekend on the 27th and 28th of September. We'll be at Central Bank Auditorium with your Don't Leave Foul to watch Corn. Get the tickets early. Tickets will be available at all our usual outlets after 12 noon today. So after lunch,
Richard,
all outlets will have tickets.
Richard, that play have too much bacchanal in it. Too much.
Okay.
Folks, have a wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God. One life, live it.
Absolutely. And of course, this has been The Breakfast.
The Breakfast Show.
Just in case you didn't know.
Yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line. Let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show.